1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Immigrants and Exiles podcast, a conversation recorded at the Beachcomber Cafe in St Kilda between me, Moreno, and my friend Walter. This time we talk about Australian girls in the 1960s, our experiences in Little Italy in Carlton in the 1970s, and finally how a visit to Italy can hurt.
Yeah, human beings are racist, and it probably goes back to the cave dwelling days when groups of people were formulating tribes already and having to fight for food and therefore fight against each other for the scraps that were available, and stealing each other's women or children to sort of increase their own clans.
My mum also believed that Australians did not know how to raise girls. They were raising loose women. They were raising, and the children generally, they let them run around in the frost in the mornings barefoot. To be barefoot for an Italian kid, mother would never allow their child to go barefoot. No. And even the girls, they're just too loose with them. They let them go out, hang out with boys, and it's just not on. So that was another kind of racist.
I kind of thought like that about Australian girls too.
Did you? They're barefoot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Italian girls or even girls from other sort of migrant backgrounds were sort of proper girls.
Proper girls.
Their families protected them, they looked after them, they couldn't
Whereas
go.
the Australian girls were not.
Yeah,
proper.
Easy pickings,
Yes.
It's not misogyny, it's just that sort of, again, reverse racism, but fear of something that's culturally looked down on.
Yep.
And you assimilate that. Yeah, but anyway.
So we're in the 70s with our parents, aren't we?
Yeah, we're in the 70s, and
your dad's working as an accountant for a quarry.
No, by then he had his own.
I had his own
agency. He had one in Lygon Street, one in Broadway Reservoir, one in Richmond.
How long did you have the one in Lygon Street for? Was it still there in the 70s?
Yeah.
Upstairs?
No, it was downstairs, but upstairs the rooms were let out to students.
This was next to the Cafe Sport.
Cafe Sport, that's right. And
I used to have lunch with my dad at the Cafe Sport.
Yeah.
He would come down to Melbourne to visit, and we would have lunch there, and then I would drive his car home to our place because he didn't know how to get there.
Yeah, and I think the greengrocers next door, they're called Paradisi. They were Abruzzesi.
Okay.
And that was when Lygon Street was known as Little Italy.
Yes.
And you'd hear Italian spoken on the streets all the time.
Yep. Yeah, my dad would buy some. There was below the Cafe Sport on the ground. Was there a news agency?
Yeah.
There?
Yeah, there was Cafe Sport, news agency, then my dad's travel agency.
And the Cafe Sport was upstairs and downstairs? They had 2 dining rooms?
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad would always buy a few Italian magazines from the news agency next door. And, okay.
And then where Alba was, where
Further
you worked
up,
for a while.
I worked there.
That was una macelleria italiana.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, and butcher shop, Italian butcher shop.
Yes.
Did
you visit when I was working there?
I did.
Alba. Yeah.
But you warned me off because of all the drug things that were happening there.
Well, there were. There was something going on. I used to get asked to take toasted sandwiches upstairs. I'd knock on the door with this tray full of toasted sandwiches. Someone would open the door. There were all these men sitting around playing cards, big table, smoke everywhere. And we used to sell, in the cafe part, glasses of Coke and rum. No liquor license.
Oh, yeah.
But it was $1 a glass, which I suppose in the, mid-70s was a lot of money. $1 a glass.
Pizza with
and a cup
wine
of wine
in their cup of coffee.
Yes. Yes. So they were learning the Italian way of doing things, I suppose.
Oh, that's the reality of life, the appearance of things and then the reality.
The appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the racism, it appears to go only one way.
Yeah.
When you're copying it, but in reality, you in many ways you're giving it back.
Yes.
Even unconsciously, you're giving it back.
Well, we're in the mid-70s, and by then my family's been back to Italy twice. My mother and father in 1969 got us on the ship, on the Galileo, and we sailed back to Italy. We lived with my maternal grandparents for just under a year. My brother and I went to school. I did the equivalent of year 9, Form 3, in the local secondary school. And my parents decided they couldn't settle, so we came back. We hopped on the Marconi, the sister ship, and sailed back to Australia in late 1970. We were back in Australia.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
Interesting point. You said your parents decided they couldn't settle.
Yep.
My parents were on that trajectory as well for quite a long time.
Okay.
To the extent that my dad purchased a really expansive apartment just outside Rome called Bagni di Tivoli was the area.
Yep.
It was a lovely spot just opposite the hot Le Terme.
Yeah.
My
The baths.
The
Oh,
baths,
baths,
yes.
yeah.
On the way to the Emperor Hadrian's villa.
Yeah.
And to Tivoli.
So your dad was determined to go and buy a property like that.
Yes, I think.
Have a real go at settling in Italy again.
Yeah. But at some point or other, my mum changed her mind. Her parents had both died. And I think...
So she started to lose interest because she was originally the one who was interested in going back.
because she'd been dialysing for a while and that was exhausting her.
Okay.
They could have done it in Italy, but once her parents died, she became disillusioned with...
Yep.
But she was still unhappy here.
Yep.
So that's interesting that my parents
So
and your
you went
parents...
through it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we knew quite a number of people, I Pompei, this couple without children, who continuously spent years back in Rome and then back in Australia. Back in Rome,
do you
back
know
in
that
Australia.
1 out of every 3 Italians who came here for a better life, 1 out of every 3 in the 50s and 60s went back.
No.
So 33% didn't think they had a better life here, didn't like what Australia had to offer.
Yeah.
They were homesick, they wanted to go back to Italy. There's a whole thing, I talk about it in my new book, Walter, about what goes on in the heads of Italian migrants when they're over here. And a lot of them actually go back for a trip and come back here traumatized, and they never want to go again. And everyone thinks it's because they go back and it's not the same anymore. It's not the place they left.
And
Things
it's not.
have changed.
And it's not.
But I reckon there's more to it than that. They go back and they actually see, people normally do not experience this, but they experience the possibilities that never happened, that never occurred. They see what happened while they were away. They think, this could have been my life. For better or worse, this could have been my life. I don't want to experience this anymore. I want to go back to what I'm used to. I'll go back to Australia. I'm used to living there. I can live there if I'm brain dead. I don't have to worry about it. I'm used to it now. And they refuse to go back again. I've met so many people like that who say, after I went to Italy once, never again. Never again. It's just too painful. It's just too painful.
That's
It's not just about realising that life has moved on. The people they knew have moved on with their lives and so on. It's the fact that they don't want to they don't want to stare in the face all the opportunities, the possibilities, the sliding doors that they didn't come across.
Oh, that's interesting. It never occurred to me to see my parents as experiencing pain by being back in Italy, because even and they often left me behind when they travelled. On those occasions they went to Italy without me, and I was living with some other relatives. My mother would do dialysis in a private clinic in Rome, and she loved it there because they were so much smarter and more courteous and more sort of affectionate to their patients than in hospitals here. So I always imagined that they were happy there. So I was a bit confused when they decided finally not to go, and the apartment was rented out for years. And that just led to the second attempt or idea of repatriation, which wasn't theirs but mine. So when I went to study in Pisa,
Yep.
I went with the idea of staying in Italy.